my dad just got on so well with those guys, and I just got to meet the people within the footy club. Went on a trip overseas, on an end-of-season footy trip to Los Angeles, San Francisco. Why? Before I'd even played a game and agreed to come over and play. But that was an important step, getting to know the players. Barras was the coach at the time. I remember playing a game of chess with Barras on the beach, the front beach of Waikiki, and then I came over for the grand final later that year, or the next year, and Stewie Spencer had a bit of a get-together at his place on Toorak Road, and I remember being signed up on this Form 4 in the laundry of that night, singlet, you know, and I came over and remember going for my first interview to get a job. You know, I'd come out of being a professional tennis player, never worked a day in my life apart from helping Dad out when I first got back to Adelaide from the tennis circuit, but I had to go buy a suit. You know, I really had no idea, so I went to the South Melbourne market. Miami Vice was a big show at the time, so I bought a white jacket, a pair of black strides, and I had these white kayak shoes. Looked like I was straight out of Miami, and went for a job interview. The first thing the guy said when I went for the job interview was, "Look, I think you need to get yourself a real suit." So I said, "Oh, I thought it looked all right, you know." So I went out and I bought a black dinner suit. That was the only suit. So I had a black dinner suit. So I was pretty green, but came over, great experience. We used to train hard, train hard, get home at 9:30 at night because you've done running, 2.5 hours of skills. Then you do your weights, then you come home and you just crawl into home. So there was no, building up. The first year players these days would do 60% of training, but no, you were just thrown in, expected to do the same amount of work that Robbie Flower and Stephen Eck and Peter Moore had done. They'd been there for 10 years, and it was really a battle of survival. I ended up with really sore groins in my first year of playing in 1987. I'm sure it was osteopubis, it was just an overuse injury, but you were expected to train every Tuesday night. It'd be if you lost, you knew it was going to be a 3.5-hour session, competitive, full ground drills. It just wouldn't happen these days with the professionalism and the load management. We talk about how much time they spend on their legs and how much game time they played on the weekend, and so you had to be pretty tough, I think, mentally and physically to survive. And I'm sure there's lots of guys that didn't get their full quota of games, 200 games, because their bodies just broke down and couldn't handle the load. So it was a baptism of fire early days. Oh, well, that's another huge change. The speed of the game, due to interchange bench, rotations. If you ever got dragged, if you ever went to the bench. In my day, it was sort of like, well, you must be going really bad because you've been dragged and you're on the bench, or injured. But these days, it's just a tactical advantage there, where the players are, 4 on the bench or 3 in a sub, and it's keeping the players fresh to keep them moving at speed. So the speed of the game is probably a lot quicker now. I think probably in my day, the total distance covered would have been more than the midfielders of today. Like, I think 14, 15, 16 Ks is probably what the midfielders would cover now, and 85% game time. Probably back in the day, I think we used to probably cover 18, 19. I remember hearing stories about Craig Bradley, who was a great runner, covering 22 kilometres in a game. But that was 100% game time and just covering the metres. But the speed of the game is a lot different these days. The club is so important to me. Obviously, my son's now playing. My whole motivation is about getting this club to win its next premiership. Been here for that period of time. You want to see the club really successful. I've been lucky enough to have a little bit of success when I went away from the club. I went to Hawthorn and had that premiership rebuild there, and with Clarko. So to be able to experience that at this club, my club, would be unbelievable. So my whole motivation is about making this club great again. We've got a lot of people with the same motivation, which is really good. We're really coming together at the moment. I think we're starting to make some real progress. It's not easy to become a great club and win premierships. It is a tough competition, and a lot of things have to be in place with the right people. But I think we're getting there, and as long as we've got people with the right motivation and prepared to roll their sleeves up, no egos, create the right culture, which I think we've shown to do. You know, I'm really confident we're going to get there. When that's going to be, I'm not sure, but I don't think there's going to be too many happier people when that happens than me. You know, to see us win a premiership would be the pinnacle, and when that happens, I'll roll the sleeves up, and I think I might head back up to Echuca and throw a line in the river and try and catch the Murray cod.